We are live now, and this is a public live meeting. So, what was happening that when I was uploading the videos at about 10 or 10:30, it was getting late for most of the people. So, what I have decided that we'll do a live session of the Hindu analysis, a brief session, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and we will continue our discussions in the evening when we do our detailed discussion. So this will be a public discussion, and I'll try to do this regularly. If you will like the channel, share it and subscribe it, and do comment what do you think about this initiative. Today is 5th of July, Tuesday, and we are discussing the Hindu. On the front page, we do not have any important news. So moving forward, nothing on the city page as well. The first news that we have is on the fifth page coming from Rajasthan. In Rajasthan, they are building up, the state government there is has proposed Eastern Rajasthan Canal project. This is a project to interlink three rivers in this region. Basically, the idea is to transfer the excess water from the Chambal River to the regions facing water scarcity. But what has happened is central government has asked the state government, they have given a directive to stop the work in view of lack of consent by other states. Other states have not given their consent, and that's why it has been stopped. Although Rajasthan is saying that there is no such problem, and it is an interference from the center into the state government's arena. So today in the polity class, we will be discussing center-state relationship, and this is a very good example for that. Moving forward, on the editorial page, today we have all the editorials which are important and somehow relate to our UPSC syllabus. So I will be discussing this briefly, and again a detailed discussion will follow in the 6 p.m. evening classes. So the first editorial is about international role of international organization, multilateral, bilateral organization, as we see in our UPSC syllabus of GS paper 2, international relations. The author is saying that multilateral organizations like Quad, BRICS, G7 have lost their importance, but they're because they're not able to produce anything new. They have become redundant, and we can achieve better cooperation, better result in bilateral talks, bilateral meetings, bilateral engagements may be much more productive at this point in the history. And he's giving an example how G7 or BRICS were not able to give any substantive results. On the other hand, when Prime Minister Modi visited UAE, it was much more productive. So moving forward to the next article is about political crisis which is happening in Maharashtra. What has happened in Maharashtra? This is about again center-state relationship and the role of governor in the states. As you know, this is a very controversial topic and a very important topic that the news related to these keep coming into the newspapers, and UPSC always asks questions around these. तो क्या इशू है महाराष्ट्र में कि पहले जो वहां के स्पीकर थे, speaker was not allowing the election of the president for nearly 17 months. वो 17 months, sorry, governor, I'm saying, sorry, not speaker, governor was not allowing the election of speaker for nearly 17 months. But, and he was citing many rules, reasons of that pendency of legislations, etc. and etc. But as soon as BJP government has come into the power, he has allowed the election within 2 days. Now, all the problems that he was citing before, they still exist, but now he has allowed, and it shows that he has worked in a partition manner. So in this regard, you should go and check your static understanding of the role of governor, some of the recommendations of Punchi Commission and others. The next article is about deal or no deal US-Iran relationships. What's happening? As we all know, there is a Iran is trying to acquire nuclear weapons, and the Western countries are trying to stop Iran's nuclear program. And a deal was signed between Iran and the Western countries that they will be helping Iran in its economic development, and in return, Iran should stop its nuclear program. It was working well, but then came the Donald Trump, and he created, as the article is saying, he created a mess out of it. He pulled USA out of it, and for Iran then again started enriching its nuclear weapons, and now the situation has deteriorated so much that it seems like there can be another war between Israel and Iran in Middle East. The next article is about nutrition. GS paper 2, health related issues or issues related to vulnerable sections. The author of this article is appreciating the work done by the government in field of nutrition, but she's also highlighting certain problems which are still there, like the nutritional deficiencies in kids, in children, the issue of exclusive breastfeeding, etc. So you should go and try to read this article and try to take some important notes. As I have highlighted, this will be very helpful in answer writing. Next article is about the situation of our universities. The author is saying that whenever some world ranking comes, we start talking about the situation of universities and all. Although it's a good news for India that now our 27 Indian universities are in 1,000 globally recognized or global institutions, but he's trying to portray or try to analyze the different situations that state-funded universities and centrally funded universities are facing. The state-funded universities, where most of the students are studying, they do not have adequate funding, they do not have adequate faculties, and they cannot compete with the central universities, and that's why they cannot come into the global rankings. The article is also highlighting some of the policies of national education policy and trying to highlight the problems with these policies. You should take a note of these as well. The next article is about the waste management rules, very important for GS paper 3 under environment, and sometimes can also be asked in GS paper 2 under provisions laws made by the government. So this article is about waste management rules 2020. This is just a draft, and government has asked the comment from the people. Now, he has highlighted some of the problems as well as he has highlighted some of the positive changes. You should try to make a note of it. We will discuss again this article in detail in the evening class. This article is very important. A lot of you might be hearing a lot about single-use plastic. So you may be confused what is banned and what is not banned and what can be the impact of it. So just to let you know, single-use plastic, as per now, there are specifically just 21 items that government has banned. Single-use plastic doesn't mean that all the plastics that you use once will be banned. There's specific list of 21 items that will be banned. And even in the carry bags, it's not like all the carry bags will be banned. Carry bags which have a thickness of less than 120 microns will be banned after December 31. For now, अभी जो रूल है उसके अनुसार plastics which are of less than 75 microns are banned. So this is also discussing the impact on the economy, the job losses, the loss of exports, etc. So you should take a note of this as well. This article is very important. We will be discussing. It's important for science and tech and very probable question. This is discussing about the sustainability of space satellites, the problems with orbital crowding, the problem with space debris, the problems with end of life protocol. So we will be discussing this article again, and this also highlights some of the steps which are taken by ISRO and other Indian space institutions. The next article is about UPI, but I think you know almost everything into about this. MDR, merchant discount rate. This question was asked by UPSC in 2017 prelims. Sometimes such economic terminologies becomes important. You should know about these. Now coming to the news section. The new parliament site will have some of the sample soils from the Tamil Nadu. It's an attempt to present the syncretic culture, the united culture of India into the parliament. So some name of some places are given here. It's also talking about Tamil Sangam literature. The question was asked in this year prelims about Sangam literature. It's always a very important topic. You should read about Tamil Sangam literature in detail. Some of the mountains and peaks are also, hills are also mentioned here. So you should try to locate them as well. Australia has agreed to provide minerals to Indian electric vehicle makers. The minerals like lithium and cobalt are very important for manufacturing of batteries, and they are limited in very few countries. So this is a homework for you. Try to find out which country has the highest reservoir of lithium. A new Sena whip. In the last class, when we were discussing about the political crisis, I've told you about whip. In the evening class, we will again be discussing how the selection of new Sena whip has again created a constitutional problem. On the business news, there are some data about export and import. You are not supposed to memorize these data, but just to keep a track of it, how economy is doing, where we are moving. So just read it and move ahead. No need to take a note of these data. There are two news here. One is saying that oil prices have slipped, oil prices have reduced in the global market. On the other hand, there is a forecast that oil prices may touch $380 per barrel, which is a scary situation. Currently, we are around 110, 20, 30. We are hovering around that. Think what will the situation if the oil prices become 380. Central government is trying to take the step to tackle the rupee's volatility. If you have read the economics, you already know what steps central government can take. If you do not know, go and revise your economics basics. Otherwise, do not try to read it. You will not understand anything. That's the news for the day. If you like the initiative, do like, share, subscribe, and